welcome back to the project.
Well, now we have the first story in a two-part series that you're bringing us, Steve.
Yeah, indeed. We have been working on this for the last couple of weeks, and despite the fact that we're outperforming most of the other economies around the world, unemployment, teenage unemployment in particular, in some parts of our country is an incredible 40%, and it's having some devastating consequences on young lives. Let's have a look. This is Elizabeth on Adelaide's Northern Fringe. It's one of the most disadvantaged communities in the state, and its young people are feeling it the most. The rate of youth unemployment here is through the roof, and kids like Josh England are hurting. When you look, week after week, you get to the end of the year and you still haven't got work, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel angry, but I've got hope in myself looking for work. One day, I'll have myself some work. Despite
the constant rejection, Josh keeps applying for jobs, but he says many other young people around here have just given up hope.
I've seen a lot of people being depressed, because I've seen a lot of people my age as well, like 15, 16, 17-year-olds, just on the drugs, ruining their lives.
The government's own data shows how desperate the problem is becoming. In Elizabeth, over 43% of teenagers who aren't in education or training are out of work. Josh's mum Cheryl knows it's hurting the community that she's called her home for 16 years. You see that frustration among youngsters not being able to get work manifesting with problems?
Yes, that's when they're starting to get themselves into trouble.
What sort of trouble?
Well, they're going out, they're stealing cars, they're graffitiing, they're just making a nuisance of themselves on the street.
Because they're bored?
Yeah, they're bored. I mean, what else can they do?
This place has changed almost beyond recognition since I first came here as a young child. Believe it or not, my old man rented this house behind me in Elizabeth back in 1957. I lived there. It was the first house I ever lived in. I'm not sure he'd recognise this area these days. Back then, there were jobs down at Holden, just down the road. People were making stuff. People had jobs at Pope and Kelvinator. All around this area there was work. Since then, the number of jobs in manufacturing has dropped by almost half, and experts say those unskilled jobs will never come back. But this problem isn't isolated to Adelaide's north. Around the country, there are areas where job opportunities for young people are incredibly scarce, and nationally, someone under 25 is twice as likely to be without work.
The problem of youth unemployment is really a problem of lack of connection to our society, and if they disconnect, it's often really difficult to get back.
I do feel like I won't be able to have a job, or I won't find a job that would be suitable for me. It's been 6 months, it feels like it's been forever.
I don't feel as happy as what I used to when I was working. Hyden is just pretty much a boring, lonesome life.
In Sydney's west, 23-year-old Trent Kennedy knows how isolating unemployment can be. He left school in Year 9 for a job at a construction company, but after 2 years, the company closed and Trent found himself out of work. When was the last time you worked?
Last time I worked was about 18 months ago.
How's that? That must be tough.
Yeah, it was really tough. Like it's been hard going through the economy as the way it is, and being able to afford to live, let alone pay bills and stuff. It's been hard.
Do you often reflect and think back that, leaving in Year 9 wasn't such a smart idea?
Yeah, I did. Like it's haunted me to this day that leaving school early is not the right thing to do for work.
The problem for kids like Trent is that they're not the only ones competing for those rare jobs.
Who's after those jobs? The adults as well as the kids. That's a problem in the West. If you're in a middle class suburb as a teenager, you'll easily get those jobs because the adults aren't after those positions.
Trent hasn't given up though. With the help of Charity Boys Town, he's enrolled in a skills training program run by Marist Youth Care. He hopes it'll lead to a job. What's that going to mean when you get that first phone call saying, yep, we want to take you on, we'll give you a full-time job, and you get your first pay packet in a month?
That's like something I'm looking forward to, because it's like being able to be independent, like being able to look after myself, not have other people around me having to look after me and care for me.
It's a desire shared by thousands of kids around the country who have fallen through the cracks. Many have troubled backgrounds, learning difficulties or mental health problems. But they are our kids, and we can and we must do better.
And it's not going to get any better until somebody stands up and says, well, we're going to do something here.
I mean, that figure, Elizabeth, and you saw on the graphic there in other parts of the country, that's totally unacceptable. The federal government's got to do something about this. We'll have some uplifting stories tomorrow night about people who are trying to make a difference. Yeah. High school teacher is fantastic.
You spoke to some good young kids there, didn't you?
Yeah, and they just want to work. I mean, they're not out there causing trouble, they just want a job, and they can't get one.
To something else now.